All right, guys, this is a video about the curious case of a BGS 10 Beta Black Lotus. Signed on the case by the famous Christopher Rush. He has left us, but never forgotten. So, the BGS 10 Beta Black Lotus, there are, I believe, 3 in the population. I heard someone said there was 4. I have to check the population, but let's assume there's 3. The first 3, let's assume that, was graded by me, and they all have a story to it. The first one was graded, I bought this card on eBay, I think, a long time ago, and the card was simply stunning, and I sent it in. It sold for like $13,000 in 2004 or 2005. Oh, so sorry. No, that was the PSA 10. Sorry, a PSA 10 Alpha Lotus. But this sold for $20,000, my apologies, in 2004 or 2005 to West Coast Sports Cards in Federal Way, Washington. And for many years, they put it online for like, $50K, $80K, and then eventually $100K or $150K. And I believe it was purchased by a person in the United States for about $100K on eBay. So that was the story on that one. The second one is this guy. This guy is a beautiful card. I actually don't know why the surface is the 9.5 to be honest, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, I mean, this card has exchanged hands many times now. It was actually, I believe this card was sold to a guy who couldn't afford it, and then couldn't finish the payment plans, and then eventually it became resold to a client, who then resold it to a friend or a client, and then it was bought back, and then now sold to a gentleman here in Ottawa, Canada, which is now I don't think it's ever going to go anywhere ever again. It's a gorgeous staple piece. Iconic mantle for the gentleman's collection. I don't even know why this lighting is so hard. I'm just trying to get some good lighting. I'll do over here. Yeah, so that's basically all I got for this card. The game's over. Basically, you got, this card is the final card for most people's collection. If you are to invest in any kind of Magic the Gathering collectible, this is the game ender. So there's also a third that I graded. There might be a fourth now, but the third one is sold. You guys have probably seen it online, and it is in the collection of open boosters. So that is in his collection on his set, and I met with him I think earlier this year, and he really obviously loves the card. He's collecting the beta set himself, and I don't think that's ever going to be sold either. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But those are the 3. The tale of the BGS 10 Beta Black Lotus. There's one BGS 10 Alpha Lotus, probably worth. It was rumored to sell for like $450,000 or $500,000, but then there was I heard that there was like cryptocurrency involved, and now the cryptocurrency at the time was probably worth about $1 million. So I'm not sure what it sold for. Who knows? But it was never really public. It's all kind of hearsay. But let's just assume that the Alpha BGS 10 is worth well over $1 million, because I personally would pay $1 million for it. A BGS 10 Alpha Lotus, if it deserved the grade, I have to see the card. I would pay $1 million for that card, because that card is something special. If it definitely deserves the grade. The history on Beta Black Lotuses, the most important thing to understand is, why is it a pristine versus a 9.5? I've graded double-digit 9.5 Alpha Lotuses and also Beta ones. And the Beta ones in particular is, number 1, the centering top to bottom. Centering top to bottom generally on this card is absolutely horrid. What I mean by that is it's usually thinner on the top and then heavy on the bottom. This one is very clean, very great registration. Let me show you if I can So the centering is the first step. That's the first metric. Let's see if I can get a good lighting here. The other thing is the corners. So the corners are a little interesting in Magic. There's a natural flip that occurs with the cards, but keep in mind this is awful lighting. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm trying my best here. Okay, that's probably better. There you go. So there's a natural flip on the cards, and you have to look for a couple things. For beta, though, the flip is actually not as predominant at all. In fact, the flip is sometimes just flat. Main reason why is there's less, obviously you guys can figure it out who are math people, less, oh man, this is awful. I'm sorry, guys. Let me go like this. Okay. There we go. The less circumference you have for the arc, for the corners, the better opportunity you have for less cutting flaws. That's what I've come to the realization of. There you go. My apologies, guys. It's very, very hard to do it this way. Now I'll put it back over here and see if it looks better. Yeah, so when the corners are cut by the manufacturer, there you go, that's better. Basically, you have, and edges and corners too. You see that there's that white is actually the thin edge, which is an angle. It's not chipping. So edges are the kind of the same idea. They usually should come out very, very crisp and clean from the manufacturer, especially for beta. Beta ones have extremely much, how would you call it? Like there's less flaws than alpha because of the cutting of the corners and everything. The registration and cut is much cleaner. God, this is awful. This is just an awful. Oh, this is better. There we go. I'm so sorry, guys. I made this video longer on purpose because it's such a cool card. So each corner on this is super clean. No visible chipping at all. It's really important to understand that's a huge trademark of 10 corners and edges. Now, you probably can use, let me wipe this off, this dust off. You probably can use a 10 times loop. And the 10 times loop could probably, show like micro imperfections, but in general, the card itself is absolutely just spectacular. I mean, I've looked at this card 1,000 times and it's beautiful. That stuff on the, what you see, the fuzz is all on the case. Not really sure where the surface mark is. I mean, this right here, it's a scratch on the case, that little white thing. Really, really not sure. Well, it could be a black label. I don't know. Who knows? But interesting. All right, guys. Well, hey, I want to share this with you because that's kind of what this card is. The kind of grading metrics. But economy-wise, people always ask me, well, Dan, what's going to happen with this card? Is it going to keep going up? What's going to happen? Well, I'll tell you that here in a second. Let me pause the video. All right, guys. Welcome back. Sorry about the bad film quality. It's been kind of hard because of the glare of the lighting. Not ideal, sorry guys, but I want to talk about kind of the BGS 10 Beta Lotus market. It sounds kind of weird to say that because there's only 3. I think there might be even 4. I have to check the pop. But the BGS 10 Beta Lotus market is a very interesting market itself because it represents super. That's not going to work. Okay. It represents the super elite investing and collecting of our industry. So what I kind of feel with the market itself is that it has a tremendous, how would you call it? It's like the ultimate collectible for the. It's like the ultimate toy collectible for the gamer investor. Um, I call it like owning like a Bugatti or like a special like Bugattis are actually not even as rare as this card. It's like owning a piece of history. It's like owning like the Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds baseballs that were like 70 home run plus or whatever the deal with that was, and they were historical because they broke the Roger Maris 61 single home run record for many years. The famous Yankee baseball player. And these balls sold for a lot of money. I believe the Mark McGwire one sold for over $1 million. And it just represents a huge piece of history. Now, you can be controversial about it all you want. Mark McGwire obviously did steroids, and there was all these other things about Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa. But the truth is, it doesn't matter. Historical items tend to have value that's beyond price, So in the case of a BGS 10 Beta Black Lotus or an Alpha one, or even the high-end Alpha cards or whatever, it could be like sealed booster boxes. It can be like uncut sheets, the original Beta artist-proof uncut sheets. Each one of those items are historical significant towards the game, and you have to look at the actual game itself. For it to be historical, the game itself needs to transcend specific areas of people's collecting. Nostalgia. It has to transcend certain nostalgia points. Meaning the game doesn't just fade like Pogs. I mean, there's no historical investment for Pogs, right? The little thing that you pop up back in the day, they were sold for a lot of money. Or Beanie Babies. There was some collecting craze, and some of them went for thousands of dollars. I don't know, maybe some went for tens of thousands of dollars. But you got to look at the actual game or the collectible, and if there is a history that can withstand tests of time. And I'm not saying it's going to be bull market all the time, all the way up. Magic's actually gone up and down, like Weatherlight, like the years of Fallen Empires. Urza's was actually a period where they thought Magic was gone back to a normal stint. And, sets like, I don't know, there were some newer sets like after Return of Ravnica, it was like mass printed. People were worried about it. So there's all this history that's come with Magic, and now they've introduced esports, and they injected $10 million into esports. These bigger, valuable items tend to be even more historically have a more historical factor as the game continues to progress. Now it's over the 25th anniversary mark of Magic. It kind of produces this incredible large nostalgia that is almost, in a way, undeniable and unbreakable. Meaning, even if the game was to fail today, or the game was to stop, which won't happen, something catastrophic, in the hallmark of history, in a part of history, Magic the Gathering has defined itself as this incredibly life-changing experience for millions of people in their life. It's become, for my life, it's become one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had. To meet all the collectors, the artists, the players, investors all over the world, to be able to play the game, teach my kids, just having the opportunity to travel the world and to meet different people and make a living off it is incredible. And that's what Magic has done. It doesn't matter if you appreciate the art or appreciate the game or appreciate the collecting or all of the above. Magic has a place for everybody in their own way. And everybody's story in Magic is different. They may have met their best friends or went to a wedding. It was, they had a wedding thing in Las Vegas that was Magic related. Everybody has something unique about Magic and to share with their family and their friends. And it's brought people together. It's brought millions and millions of people together all around the world. And I gotta say that I don't know anything else that has done that. You can play with Italian cards or French cards or German cards and still understand that, hey, that card is a counter spell, or that card is a dark ritual. That card is what it is because it's universal. The images,
that are ingrained by the artists who created these cards. Like Black Lotus, you know, has been obviously this Michael Jordan-esque Babe Ruth card, and it represents the most powerful in many ways card, but the most like mythological wonder, you know, to it's like one of the 7 wonders of the world, right, for Magic the Gathering. And because of that beauty and the history and all that nostalgia that's come to play, some would argue that even keeping the reserve list together, it makes the original beta and alpha and unlimited ones extremely valuable. I believe a BGS 10 unlimited one sold for 100K recently. So goes to show you, you know, what the beta one could be worth. I can't share with you the sale itself. It's private, but I will say that it's obviously a very world record sale. You can kind of figure that out. And if the alpha one, I would pay $1 million. You can figure out what the beta one's worth. But the point is, these historical collectibles just are truly once in a lifetime. And I think in the world of higher end investing and collecting, there's people that really appreciate this type of historical item. And if you have the resources and the financial means to buy it, well, people just buy it. And that just goes on with, you know, collectibles from all over the world. It could be Egyptian art. It could be, you know, paintings from Monet or Picasso, whatever, or, you know, even more historical items, like maybe like a piece of United States history, right? People buy into history all the time, and these go into museums. So I wouldn't doubt that this card or these kind of cards go into museums one day, and that some of the videos or pictures and memories that we've had will go into museums, and hopefully people will appreciate the history behind what created our gaming culture, our gaming pop culture. All right, it's me, Daniel, with VintageMagic.com. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you again for watching all the videos, and please, I will also put some links of the Black Lotus and other kind of collectibles, kind of unique videos that I've seen done over the years in the links below, so you can kind of have some like other things to watch, not just from me, from other people. But I really appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful and amazing day. Take care, guys.